Hey everybody, my name is Andrew Darius and you're watching Conversations in Pop Culture. And yes, I am hard to kill. And before I introduce my guest, I do want to remind everyone this episode is brought to you by my sponsor, Pocket Jack Comics, who have books like Palace of the Golden Princess and White Lily and can find their books at pocketjackcomics.com. Also, you still might be able to find their books in Diamond, in comic shops, other places, if you're lucky to. But yeah, go to their website, pocketjackcomics.com, and check out what they're doing, and you can order their books there because I do not think you will be disappointed, especially if you like beautiful art, awesome covers, and some really, really interesting stories that are a little bit off Main Street, but are just so well done. But enough about that, because I have with me my good friend Chris Brown, who designs games and does some comic work. So welcome to the show.
Hey, how's it going? Yeah, I am Chris Brown, and I'm a hard target. And I thought we were doing, 80s, 90s action movies.
I was stealing from Impact Wrestling because they have a pay-per-view called Hard to Kill.
Oh, I thought you were doing the movie.
Yeah, I mean the movie works too, but I was just taking from Impact because I'm an Impact kid, like wrestling, and they're killing it right now. But I am hard to kill, so there we go. But I could also fly a fighter plane to install a rescue mission at any given point. There's so many things. There's so many things I can do here from the 80s.
Yeah,
I mean, we can go Johnny Quest too if we wanted to.
Yeah, I think my favorite Seagal movie is Executive Decision. You've never seen it? It's where he dies right away in the beginning.
I don't think I've seen that one. I don't think.
He's sucked out of an airplane right away in the beginning. It's funny.
I don't think I've seen that one. I've seen a bunch of Steven Seagal movies, and I like him in a lot of ways. My favorite thing is when he tried to do like his reality show of being a bounty hunter. I thought that was pretty funny.
Oh my god! Then he ran through the people's house with a tank and killed their dog. Jesus!
Oh my god!
What a piece of shit.
But enough about that.
But I have heard, speaking of Johnny Quest, I have heard that they are killing it with the Quest, Silverhawks, Space Ghost, Herculoids, all those older properties they're bringing back, and I heard they're pretty good.
There's a lot of good stuff from the 80s that are being brought back. There's a lot of stuff that's fascinating, like Thundercats. Like the comic is pretty decent. Yeah. So there's a lot of stuff. But I want to talk about you. Obviously, you introduced yourself, but I do want to talk a little bit about you before we get into what you're doing with your board game. Because obviously you do Slaughterville, you do the comic Slaughterville, you do the game Slaughterville, which is a big board game. I think there's 3 editions of it, the board game. There's a novel of it, a novelization, I should say.
Yep.
There could be multiple novels coming soon. I don't know. But there's
this is the second one.
There's a comic, ization. I don't know how to. I don't know here. When you take something, correct me if I'm wrong, that's one thing, and then you make it into another thing and into another media. It's an ization of it, right?
Yes.
So, but obviously, what is Slaughterville? Because it's got a bunch of different components. It's got like a role play element to it as well. I think is out there. So, like, there's a lot of things and products that surround it. That
it's funny you bring that up because I just happened to have, and that was just completely coincidental. I have the role playing game right here of it, but yeah, it is. Slaughterville started off as a board game because I wanted to have all of my favorite style of games in one box. And it is based on a town where every one of your favorite horror movies takes place. So you might find Frankenstein's monster. You might find Dracula, the slasher, a serial killer. You might find the Dream Demon, which is totally not Freddy Krueger, but it is. And they all are in that town for reasons you'll find out if you read the novel. Because the novels are what happens if I were playing the game. So that's my story. Whereas the role-playing game, of course, is a deep dive where you get to have as much control over the game as you wish. The board game is a fun horror adventure. So yeah, we have all kinds of good stuff with it.
Yeah, we've spoken about this a lot, and I don't want to into it. And then obviously you've done death metal, you've gone hunting, which is the outlier a little bit, not necessarily the game mechanics of it, but you don't have to be a hunting fan to play Gone Hunting, but it can be triggering. I'm just gonna say it. It doesn't trigger me, but some people are just not okay with it. But it's a dice kind of attack capture type game, for lack of a better word.
Yeah. It was funny because we were down in Georgia at a convention and a vegan came up and she said she liked the game. So I'm like, hey, it's vegan approved. But then I also had people online telling me that they hoped that deer would gore me and kill me and tear me to pieces. Oh, I've had so many death threats over gun hunting. It was great. I love it. Keep them coming.
So I do want to dive into that a little bit, and then we're going to get into the new game. But what is that like? Because I've had people hate people I've interviewed. I've had people do a bunch of social media about it, and my response and my professional response and my personal response is, thank you for just getting me media, because any reaction and what you just did is you just blew up something that really wasn't a big deal, that was well known and people's opinions were well known, and you just got me a lot more attention. And then later on, what I found out is a bunch of people were like, what was up with that shit? And people were speaking about me and a bunch of other stuff, and everybody knows who I'm talking about, so I don't really care. But like people said, dude, what was up with that? What was up with that? And people have questions, but nobody asked it to me directly because I didn't bring it up.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's very far reaching. I'm like, well, thanks for kind of getting me free media, man, because a bunch of people now have questions saying, why are you painting Andrew like an asshole? Yet he's not an asshole. Like, so it's not adding up here. But what is that like? Because I think that's a really interesting situation that sometimes occurs with products. And I think it's fascinating when it happens.
Right. And I believe you know the person. His name was Eric Bischoff, right? Controversy creates cash.
Great book.
Absolutely. And that's what I believe wholeheartedly. If you're going to come here and talk and scream and carry on, call me all kinds of names. Okay. All you're doing is bringing more people to me, baby. Thanks for giving me money. You know? And that's the way I look at it. I don't take it personally because whatever. People are going to scream on the internet about everything.
I don't care if you want to attack me. It's whatever. Until it gets to a point. Where there are lines. And once you cross those lines, you can expect a receipt. And that's what it comes down to. But I find it interesting, right? Because this is what's going on right now in comics, right? This is what's going on collectively right now is all these beefs are occurring with people and all these problems are occurring. And I find this to be fascinating because I'm like, great. All these people that were theoretically irrelevant 6 months ago are now relevant, but there's no value of their relevancy.
Well, just like I said to Tatiana, how deep do you want me to get into this thing? Wow. I got that reaction from you. That is special. I feel it right here.
This is almost like my whole interview with Evie Akasha. That interview, if you watch that interview, half the interview is just me breaking down in laughter. Like, and once you understand who Evie Akasha is, you'll realize it's almost like Lilith too, and Sasha Nakamoto.
Yeah.
For those who don't know, I interviewed a virtual cam girl. So she's like a real video game engine based virtual cam girl. So that whole those three, oh my god, just yes. So you can go as deep as you want. On this, but yes. I thought that was funny.
Well, we'll give a teaser because I am going to actually do a deep dive on this on a stream soon. But I put the post out where I am extremely tired of people screaming and fighting and carrying on about other companies or other groups when they've never delivered things in the first place, or things are 4 or 5 years late. You know.
Look, I'm gonna play devil's advocate.
Okay.
And I have no problem admitting this. I am late on delivering product to people in my eBay store. Here's why I'm late, though, and this is why it's important to understand. I sell base relic cards.
Mm-hmm.
Those take anywhere from 150 to 200 days to build. So
Oh,
I don't build them. I order them. They sell out within 90 seconds to 3 minutes.
wow.
So I buy them. My clients want them. They're super limited, but I'm late because
Mm-hmm.
they take a while to build. But the people who want it understand. Some understand, right? Some don't. Because some people, and I'm like, look, here's my phone number. Hit me up. If you want to call me at 4 in the morning, I'm going to pick up my phone and answer it. Don't call me at 4 in the morning, please. Because if you call me at 4 in the morning and I answer it, I say, who the fuck are you?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm calling you.
You're better off calling me at like 9 o'clock in the morning. So be like, oh yeah, dude, I don't have the card here. You have my number. You know I'm not screwing you.
Yeah.
Right. But I'm late. So I understand lateness, right? But at the same time, we're talking 200 days. But you
Mm-hmm.
also, I've sent an invoice of their order number.
Yeah.
So in defense of lateness, I understand that shit goes south, right? But at the same time, I agree that, okay, you had a year to do this. Why did it take another 3 months to do?
Yeah. Well, that's my and I'm going to flip back on the other side with that is and say that's what the estimated ship date is for on crowdfunding campaigns. But like with yours, like you said, you knew and they know it's going to take a while to make this card. I don't know what the card is. I'll be honest with you. I don't know anything about the cards, but
It's Pete Alonso's 3-run home run that got the Mets to the next round.
Right. But I'm just saying, I understand there's a process to create them. And so do people that buy on the Kickstarter and Indiegogo. And I myself have been a couple of months late on occasion with a game. But the point is, keep in contact. Like you said, you keep in contact with them, and that's important. It's when they're not doing that. That's one of the main issues too. Or well, anyway, when I do the deep dive, you'll hear it all. We'll just give a little teaser today.
I find it fascinating. I find it fascinating, and it's interesting because again, that's that. But I don't want to dive too much into it. I have my own opinions on all this, and obviously that's a whole discussion, and this could be like a 9-hour discussion just on the whole ethics of it. But I do want to talk about your game because you have a new game coming out.
Yes,
an interesting one, and it's very different than the others, I think. So it's Escargot, and it's kind of a dice racing game, picking up things, point based. And so, where did this come from, and where did this idea come from? Because this is definitely way different than death metal. It's way different than Slaughterville. It's way different than Gone Hunting in many ways. It's probably similar to actually Gone Hunting. It's closer to Gone Hunting than the Slaughterville.
Yeah,
that's a given. But what is that like? Because where did this idea come from? Because obviously there's a bunch of questions about it, but I'm curious where the idea came.
So the idea for it came honestly. We were having supper the one night, dinner, whatever you guys call it. And my son goes to me, the oldest one. He's a smart ass like me. And there's only one Slaughterville. Yes. He comes up to me and he says, you should make a game about snails delivering packages called Escargot. And I'm like, that is the dumbest damn name I'd ever heard in my life, but I couldn't get it out of my head. You know, it was constantly there. So I was poring over it and thinking, what type of game would I like? And that's when Backer Kit, and I don't know if you've heard of Backer Kit.
I know Backer Kit. They've gone through some evolutions, right?
Absolutely, yes. Now they do crowdfunding right on the platform. Well, they invited me to an event called Pocketopia, where you make small form factor games, which means a small box you can carry with you. And they were doing this whole event with it, and I thought, you know what? I can make Escargot, a small form factor game about snails delivering cargo. Now, what would I do with that? So I said, okay, how about they're running through the garden trying to do this? Well, why would snails do that? Why would they do? What's the excitement draw factor? Well, now you're in a race. You're 4 employees, potential employees, trying to earn your way into the great company of Escargot. And you're carrying your cargo, racing through this garden, And the person that gets the most cargo at the end, well, they're the ones that are going to win. I threw in some Mario Kart style bombs, traps, trampolines, all kinds of good fun stuff. And the tiles are modular, so you can build that track any way your heart desires, as long or as short as you have as many tiles for.
So let's talk about that too, because obviously, if you want, I saw the pictures. So you want an easy game. I think it's like 3 tiles. You want a medium game, it might be 5, and then you want a hard game. Because I don't think if you build it as like a U or you just build it long and medium, it really makes much of a difference as far as tiles go per se.
Right?
Maybe it does. Maybe it does. I don't know. But that's a moot point. But
yeah,
what is that like too? Because if you have 15 minutes, you can play a 15-minute game, or you can play a 25-minute game, or I don't know the length of a game per se, but it could be a 5-minute game, right? Versus saying a 15-minute game or a 20-minute game. So what is that like too? Because that is also interesting when you want to have different levels, because maybe, you're playing with your kids and you say, cool, play a game before bedtime.
Absolutely. And that's one of the reasons why I did it modular and I don't have it as a set track. Like, I love the game Formula D, or Formula Day as some people call it, but it's a racing game and they have multiple tracks, but they're all predetermined, which I get because it's based on Monaco and all the actual tracks. This one, you can take it out to dinner with the kids and play it on the table before you get your food. The tiles are all laminated and you're not going to hurt them. And the fact that you can, and we have a bunch of different game modes, of course, where you're just racing straight from beginning to end, or you race to the end, turn around and come back, or you actually make it a loop and have multi-lap, right? With constant refilling weapons, just like, again, think Mario Kart, but in a tiny box with snails. And what you said is my exact goal, is to get these kids, families, to stand around this game and just, if you want to play a quick one-shot game, get it out of here. And then that's it. That's great. But if you want to play a game that's going to take you 15, 20 minutes, go for it. It's all for you, baby. We did it all for you.
So I want to get further into this because I think it's so interesting, right? Is that obviously you said it's a small box game, and it's the type of thing that, could theoretically be in a bar. Because I've been to a few bars that are kind of nerd-esque, and they have games and they have nerd games, and like not nerd games. This is not the way how I should be selling this. But I'm sorry. I'm not trying to insult anybody here, but clearly I just might have. But they have games that are what are known as tabletop easy pickup games. So like I find it, but what is that idea to make it a small box and make it affordable and make it not offensive, for lack of a better word? Because I think that's really the fascinating part of this, is that you could pick it up and you could take it.
Those are the keys, and you just hit on it. It's meant to be something that's affordable, especially in these, economically challenging times. And I wanted you to be able to carry this along with you. That's just about as perfect as you're going to get it. I wanted that. That was one of my main goals, was to make this as affordable as possible. And that's pretty much why we're making it in the US too. We're manufacturing in the United States, which, yes, is more expensive for me, but I'll be damned straight to hell if I'm ever passing that on to anybody. I want to keep this game as cheap as I possibly can. I've always said, if it were up to me, and anybody can vouch for it, if it were up to me, I would make these things and give them away for free, because that's how much I like them. I think everybody should play it because they're fun. Plus, if you get it on the Kickstarter or the backer kit one, we're giving away the snail meeples. So we got little baby snails that we're going to put in there for you. That'll be fun.
So let's dive into this a little bit too, because U.S. manufacturing is complicated. Yes. for a lot of reasons. You got to find somebody who wants to do it. We have if you are producing in mass quantities, obviously you have more buying power whether you go international or abroad. But I know Santine Phoenix very well, and they had an issue when she was with her husband, and I don't want to get into the details of this.
Sure.
Complicated issue. Sometimes things in businesses don't work out, right?
Of course.
Is the end story. Look up the whole story. We'll be here till 4 a.m. if I go through it. But obviously they had books that were legitly sitting in a warehouse waiting for a cargo container. And this was during COVID. I mean, this wasn't tariff issues, but it took them a long time to find a cargo container to get their product from China, and it was a book. So it was like a role-playing D&D type book. I think it's E5. So obviously there's that element of it with time and shipping. Yes. If you can avoid shipping in China, printing in China and all that stuff, that's helpful because shipping could take 3 months. Now, secondly, the other thing is that if you're printing 500 copies, it might not be worth going to China. So there's the money side of it. And then the third thing is that we have no fucking clue what tariffs really look like. We have them right now in our country. And I don't care that they say they're in effect, but we don't know what it's going to look like. And that's just the reality of it. So what is that like for you to print in the US? Because that's also something that I think is a real concern right now. With everything going on when you're going to now start printing overseas, because you need to have a lot of fucking inventory for it to make any sense.
And that was the kicker for it. If I wanted to do a minimum order quantity or an MOQ of 500, then I could go overseas to get them. It's just not viable anymore for a lot of the board game things to do that. And printing it in the United States is almost comparable because you don't have to pay overseas shipping, you don't have to pay warehousing costs, you don't have to pay customs fees, all of this that goes along with shipping into the country. Me being able to, and there were not many people that wanted to make board games in the United States at all, but that's starting to switch and come around, and it's enabled me to make campaign goals smaller because I don't need such a high order quantity because they're being made right here in the US, and I can just call and get more within a week or two. So it's pretty easy.
I find it interesting. Again, I think it's a big concern, and again, this is not my forte. To know how to do this, to even deal with this. I don't deal with this side of business.
Right.
I don't produce something. I order things that are not made yet all the time. That's a whole different discussion. But I find it interesting that it's actually becoming comparable and reasonable and price doable, if that's a word, right? If it's not, I'm coining it. I'm going to trademark that tomorrow. Price doable. My trademark. So you put that on a T-shirt, you're going to have to pay me. But no, all jokes aside, but I find it fascinating. You also feel that it's time too, because I hate to say this, but I hate waiting for things, right?
Yes.
I hate waiting for things. When I buy something, I want it within like 3 weeks. I mean, I don't have patience, right? I don't even have patience for like my next episode of Deal or No Deal Island. I'm like so hooked on that show, and I have no patience for Deal or No Deal Island in this position, right? It's like I want to know what happens next, and I have to wait, and it sucks, and it's like it's killing me and it's eating me out inside. But these are real problems, everybody. I don't know if poverty is going to get eliminated this week. It's very stressful.
But then we have the issue also of not just shipping internationally, which this would have been an issue no matter what. But now shipping costs for us, and I'm sure being a reseller yourself, to foreign countries has gone through the roof.
I actually don't know. I don't know because eBay handles that for me.
Oh, really?
I have no idea what shipping something to Australia costs. I have no idea.
Unfortunately, to ship one of these to the UK is like $30-some. And the game is $30. So I mean, you know what I mean? It does limit us to what we're able to do, unfortunately. Now, I'll do my best to work with everybody, but I don't want to lose money on a game, otherwise I can't make any more. Right?
No, I agree. But again, I have no idea what it costs to ship to Australia because eBay, I shipped to eBay's center, and this is actually really interesting, right? So I shipped to the center in Kentucky, and they handled the rest. Now I'm sensitive, right? So if I would charge somebody $80 for in the US, I might charge somebody in the UK 70 for the same product because I know they're getting shellacked on the shipping. Or 75. I know you're getting shellacked. I'm going to cut you a little bit of a break, but I can't move beyond this, right? And most, unless it's like a super rare item. So I sold the advent calendar last year, and the guy was thrilled because other people wouldn't ship internationally, and he paid a good chunk of money. But I'm selling a $40 item for usually 120. I sold it for 110, which helped him because that $10 meant a lot. Because when you're paying $30, so instead of him having to pay 150, he's paying 140. Right? It might not seem like a lot, but it's a whole 1/15th less. And as a percentage, it's like 6% less. But it didn't hurt me all that much, right? Because the margins were so big. But at the same time, I couldn't sell it to him for 60. Right. I couldn't sell it to him for 50 if I'm selling it for 60. But again, I find this fascinating. I really do. But I have no idea international shipping, and I don't want that problem. eBay handles it. It's great. Yeah. But that I find it, but I do want to dive deeper into this. Where what I am curious because obviously it's a $30 game too, and this is another thing that I think is interesting as well is that I think Gone Hunting was 20, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was, right?
Yeah, we have it. It was originally about 35. We have it down to 20 because we were doing a hunting season sale. I thought it'd be nice to give people a sale during hunting season if they wanted to get it and play while they're out at hunting camp.
I thought I backed it around like 20. I don't know. What happened. Maybe I didn't back out. I don't know what the hell I did. What do I know? I don't remember what I did like 5 minutes ago. It's terrible. But all jokes aside, obviously, what is this like even figuring out the price point? Because we spoke about this last time with Gone Hunting, where looking at what's being sold in Walmart and being at what's sold in Target for these games and figuring out a comparable price, but also figuring out how to balance that, hey, this is an indie project. I'm printing in smaller quantities, but I still want to give value, but I also need to at least break even or only lose 5%. In the initial run. And so what is that like? Because I think that's something that is not complicated, but it's the reality, right?
Yeah. No, I get a sheet that says this is what it's going to cost if you print X number of copies. So once I get that quote, I will tailor the Kickstarter or whatever the campaign is down to the lowest number that I can possibly get it for people. Like, okay, this is going to be as cheap as I can get it for you if we sell this many, and I think mostly it's reasonable, and I do my best to make sure that everybody gets something of value out of it, because we've played the game several times and on streams and everything else, and it's always been fun. It's always been well received. But the issue is it's a family weight game, and most people are into the dungeon crawl, big miniatures, deep dive kind of a game. And that's not this. This is a speedy, fast weight, family friendly style game.
It's like Mario Party.
Yeah.
So let's actually talk about that too, because this is interesting from a portfolio level, right? Because at this point, Laughing Rogue, which is your company, and this is part of Laughing Rogue, there gets a position, and I'll interject me and what I do, right? So I will sell Bad Girl comic books in my eBay business, but then I will also sell NBA cards, right? And the idea is that there is crossover between stuff, but there's also people who say, look, I don't want, Bad Girl art in my world, but I want your rare Steph Curry card, right? Okay. So those clients, there's crossover a little bit. But then also what's happening now is that I sell Bad Girl cards. And there's more crossover with art cards and basketball cards, like Senscope has cards. There's crossover and there's more of that, but there's also not as much as you think. But I want that expansion of the audience, right?
Right.
So what is that like? Because now you have in Laughing Rogue, your store, you have Slaughterville, Gone Hunting, you have all that stuff, but you also have this family game. And then we also can take it a step further. You have a table at a con, and now you have another product that might hit another niche. And I think that's what's interesting also, is that once you start adding in a variety of products, you're now expanding your net, and your net becomes bigger and bigger and bigger, and you can still get niched down and be very focused and hyper focused, but you could say, cool, I have this other thing here, and there you go. So like, what is that like? I think that's really interesting when people start going that direction.
And that's right. It is quite difficult when you bring a new direction for a game, because yes, I'm the horror guy, right? I write the horror stuff, the action stuff, and adventures and so on. To now go into a family-friendly game, that's something that probably at least half of the Slaughterville people might not be into, because, well, it's not a horror game. It's almost like starting and rebuilding an audience from scratch. You have to pull in as many new people as you can.
Let me ask this because I'm curious about it. Sorry to cut you off, but do you also feel that at this point, though, it doesn't hurt your horror audience, because it's not going to turn them off per se?
No,
because you're not taking away the horror component, right? So if I just do comics and anime, right, and then I add wrestling into the repertoire of this show, it doesn't hurt anybody, right? Because I'm still doing the stuff that's the basic, but maybe instead of 2 anime interviews and 2 comic interviews a week, it's 2 anime, 1 comic, and 1 wrestler, and it doesn't hurt. And then when I do the adult stuff, I'm sure it's brought in a lot of people, to be honest, all those adult interviews. But I'm not leaving comics. So if you're still into the comic stuff, great. You just have another thing in there, right? You have another piece of their portfolio. And that's where I think it's so interesting. It's kind of like if somebody does a comic book. I'm trying to think of a mainstay, somebody who we're not going to piss off. Travis Gibb. Travis Gibb. I love Travis. But Travis does a lot of books, right? So let's say you don't like his latest superhero book, which you should go back, by the way, everybody. He didn't tell me to do that, by the way. I just threw it in there, but you should go check it out. But let's say you hate superhero books, but you love Cthulhu. You're not being hurt by him doing another book. Or Pat Chan does a lot of books. He's another good example. So let's say you don't like Pat Chan's not safe for work stuff, but you like everything else he does. Great. You're not being hurt by him doing it. So I'm curious how you feel, because I don't think I agree that it's building a new audience, but I also view this as saying, cool, you now have another thing to offer.
Right. And that is the thing. It's it doesn't hurt the Slaughterville people. I'll still, because usually with Slaughterville I fund in under a day, because I have that built-in audience that I've created and that have come along with me for the last 15 plus years. Now with the Escargot and with Gone Hunting and even Gods of Metal, it's almost like rebuilding that audience, but with a little bit of a step up, because I already have these other people that are cool enough to, again, want to hang out with me, which I appreciate.
Do you also feel that you're also targeting more of a family? And also, because if a father is at a convention with his son and his daughter and they're 5 and 7, Slaughterville, you might not be able to get him.
Exactly.
And then you might be able to get him because of this game.
Yeah.
And then he brings home Escargot, and then mommy's happy. Because that's really, really who you want to make happy in this family. So I'm calling it like I see it, right? So mom doesn't feel that daddy corrupted the children. So
I've had that very thing where people will come up and when it was mainly Slaughterville at first, sorry, that's not for me. I'm not into horror. I don't like the scary stuff. I get that all the time, and I don't get offended by it because some people just don't like that stuff. And the same thing with gone hunting. I don't like hunting. I don't like, even though you're not really hunting anything, it's just that's not their theme. That's not their thing. And I get it. It's cool. Doesn't hurt my feelings. But being able to have a broad spectrum of product will naturally bring more people in. Even if they're not all backing the same thing, hey, find something you do like. We'll give you something.
No, I find it interesting. And then obviously, I mean, there's a bunch of rewards. You just pick up the game. I think the campaign is actually pretty simple on rewards. I
Yes.
don't think it's that complicated because it's a board game. I mean, this isn't rocket science. There's like no variation of it. Like you could buy like you could buy a retail package. Is there like an upgraded package, or you could buy like some more like figurines, or is it just really like 3 or 4 things that you can pick up? You can pick up a PDF of it.
Yeah. If you want to do a print and play, you can do it. You can print it out yourself, especially for those people overseas. They like to do that because of the shipping being expensive. But no, the only figures we have are those little snail dudes, and we're giving them away to you for free as long as you're backing it on crowdfunding. And everything else is stretch goals, getting more tiles, more tokens, more of thicker tiles, more of everything. So no, you don't need to upgrade to deluxe. It's all right here.
I see that's fascinating. That's fascinating. So obviously, I mean that's good though, right? Because symbol's good, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I believe that anyway.
But obviously, I want to back out of that, and I want to dive deeper into this because obviously, I am not a super board game guy. I play Catan. I like Shadows over Camelot. Every time I play, I hope I'm the bad guy.
Well, yeah.
Oh, it's so much fun. It's so much fun to be. What is it, Gladius? I think is it Gladius?
I think so. Yeah, it's good to be evil.
Oh, it's so much fun. The worst in that game, by the way, is one time one of my friends was the bad guy, and oh my god, it was just a bad game. He was not very good. He was not very good. He didn't understand how to be bad.
Yeah.
He didn't understand the strategy. And within like 4 turns, we killed him. It was not a good game. And so, like, but it's random, right? It's random. So, there's only so much you could do. But I do want to get into actually building and what makes a good game and what doesn't, because you've designed a bunch of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't know as much about board games as you do. I played like 3 or 4 of them collectively. I've played obviously Slaughterville. I played Gone Hunting. I played Catan, Shadows over Camelot. I've played the Island game. Oh man, is it like Desert Island or and then I played the sequel to that, because that game is so much fun. I love the idea that you're playing against the game. But when you're designing a game, I mean, what really makes a good game in your opinion? Because there's all this stuff that I see, but I don't know what's good, bad, and what's going to make a great game. Because I'll give you an example. I think it's like Kings of Tokyo. I think Kings of Tokyo, the concept sounds awesome, but it sounds like a hard game. Because you have to attack Tokyo and then you have to defend Tokyo to get points. But if everybody beats each other over and over and over again, nobody can get points.
Yeah.
And it's very much like I think the game is flawed. So I'm curious, in your opinion, when you're designing and building a game, what makes a good game?
The first thing I try to do when I'm making any game is I'm trying to figure out what theme I want to go with. And once I figure out the theme that I want to go with, like horror or the racing snails and things, then I distill it down into what are the mechanics, what are the game needs that I can use to get this across. And that's going to shape how I design it. But always, always, always start off with the most basic version of the game you possibly can. What's the simplest thing that's going to happen? And then from there, you add to it little bits at a time, always trying to strive to make each piece fun to play as you go along. For instance, there was one game that I just got recently, Adventures of Conan. Now, again, people that know me know that I'm the largest Conan fan probably in existence. I have a Conan blanket and everything. I'm not even joking. I don't care. Okay. This game, I think, was made by I think Michael J. Fox wrote the rule book post Parkinson's because it's all over the place. It is terrible. It is horrifyingly bad. I'm going to have to rework this game. But being able to keep things distilled, simple to understand, and but also offer them enough variety that they can expand and have fun with it. That's really what's important to me.
So there's two things I want to break and I want to ask you about. So, do you think that every game needs to have variety? Because I'll be honest with you, I mean, I'm looking at the game and I'm like, this is just snails picking up cargo and it's a race to the end, and it's not that complicated of a game. Like sometimes I don't want a complicated game. I mean, we'll use Mario Party or Mario Kart because it's been brought up. Mario Kart is a very simple game, except Rainbow Road. Rainbow Road is a bitch, guy. That is hard. You need to learn how to drift on Rainbow Road. That is hard as fuck. Okay? Like Double Dash Rainbow Road, oh my god. And it's even worse. It's even worse going in reverse. Mirror Rainbow Road? Oh, it's terrible. It's just terrible. There's something fundamentally wrong with Rainbow Road. But anyway, going back to my question, do you feel that every game needs to have variety? Because to some degree, this game is so simple that you're just grabbing a beer with your friends and you're playing it in a bar and nobody has to really think.
Exactly. And variety doesn't have to be something where there's tons and tons of depth. For me, variety is, oh, good, here. Like the start tile. This side has nothing on it except, places 1, 2, 3, and 4. But if you flip it over, each position gets a starting token, right? That's variety, but it's not something that's going to take an hour and a half to learn extra rules. Or the finish line, a basic finish line, or you turn around and go back, right? So again, variety, but it's not complicated.
Fair enough. And then the other thing that you brought up in the Conan game, and I think this is also interesting, is that you said that the rule book was a bad position. Do you feel that, obviously, I've seen a bunch of stuff where I've seen a bunch of big properties get licensed, a bunch of games get licensed on Kickstarter, and they tend to do really well on funding. Do you think that is also part of the problem, is that somebody's doing 500,000 on Kickstarter and then they lose the fundamentals because a lot of money is now involved? I mean, Santine Phoenix and that project did like 325,000. Oshi Push, which I'm excited for in the background. I've interviewed them. Their avatar, which is super cool. Another VTuber, super cool interview. But they did over 500,000. And so there gets a point where it's just like they're actually pretty close on time. They're about 2 months late, which is not bad.
That's not bad.
That's not bad at all. 500,000 being 2 months late. That's pretty damn good. Yeah. I was hoping for it in January, but I'm still pretty stoked. I'm still pretty stoked for it. I have to learn how to play that game, though. I'm gonna take like a week off from work to learn how to play that because I want to play in tournament. But anyway, but not the point. But like, do you feel that's part of the problem with some of these big games? Is that if we got the license and we don't really need to make a good game, we just need to get a lot of money so that we break even and make some money doing this. And who these people, we don't care if the game is good or bad. We just need to legitimately just fund the shit out of it.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's that they didn't care or that it just got away from them, because there are so many situational rules where, like, if you do this one thing, then this rule applies. But if you do these other things in a row on this rare occasion when it's a full moon, or then this applies, right? It's just, and things are, it's not an organized rule book. It doesn't explain the cards. In fact, they said something like, if your die rolls a character symbol, what in the hell is a character symbol? It didn't explain it anywhere. Or how to start an encounter. It doesn't explain anywhere on in there clearly how to do it. And I tried watching videos. And they do the same thing, but they just parrot the rule book. They say, okay, if you want to start an encounter, you can do that in this turn. Well, how do you do it? nobody ever says. So I think that game got away from them. It got bigger than what they were expecting or were able to or prepared to handle.
I'll give you an example of something that handles this well. Watch wrestling while getting drunk, or get drunk while watching wrestling. I forget which one. It's a card game, right?
I thought you were telling me to go watch WWE and
that you can do that on your own terms. That's great, but it's a card game on Kickstarter, right? And what it is that there's situational cards, right? So if somebody uses somebody else's finisher, everybody has to take 5 sips of their beer.
Oh God!
But that means that if like John Cena uses the Crossroads, everybody has to take 5 sips of their beer. But it's an open situational rule that's on the table, right? So everybody knows if it happens, or if the person uses an illegal weapon while the ref is knocked out, everybody has to take a sip of their beer, right? That's an open, well-defined situational rule, right? Now there's ways to counter that. And then everybody has action cards, right? But the rules are so well-defined that you can do that, right? But you have reverse cards in your hand, and like but it's so well-defined, right? Yeah. You can't reverse a situational rule. But that's where I think this gets interesting. So the game that these people built is not out of control, where the game hasn't gotten out of their position. So I find this fascinating, but I was just curious your opinion.
No, again, that's kind of what it is. It's okay to have situational rules as long as, like you said, they're clearly defined. They're not confusing, and you understand how they work. You understand how they got there and how they were implemented. But like this is Escargot's rulebook, right? And this side over here is meant for backer names. Extremely small. Not the font, but there's not a lot to this as far as rules go, because I wanted that something that people can get right into and enjoy playing.
Do you think even the rule book is big enough or too big for this game? Because I don't think this game is that complicated. I don't.
Most of that rule book is explaining what the tokens are. And there's like 6 or 7 different types of tokens. So it's going to say, this is the trap token. This is what that does. This is the trampoline token. That's what that does. That's what most of that rule book is. Otherwise, it's set it up, roll your dice, move your snails, smack people in the face.
Fair enough. And then I want to dive further into the Kickstarter side of the board games, because again, I'm not as informed on this stuff. Obviously, right now, I'm just gonna say it, and I have no problem saying it. Things are complicated in the world, and people are making choices with their money and where to spend it or harboring it. I think, at least that's how I feel, because that's where I'm at. Is I don't know where things are going. I don't want to alarm anybody, but there's a lot of shit going on in the economy. The stock market is extremely volatile. Prices are extremely volatile. Eggs are very expensive right now. The other day I was at Cracker Barrel. And it would cost me 49 more cents for my eggs. And luckily I won a bet and I had an extra 50 cents. So I got my eggs. So I want to make that crystal clear. I know everybody was concerned here, but I'm tempted to get the pancakes, but the Lakers really fucked me over there. No. You always bet against the Lakers. They're not very good, especially when they're playing Boston. But anyway, this is not advice. I am not your bookie, nor do I want to be. But anyway, all jokes aside, obviously things are very complicated, and I've noticed on campaigns that they're not funding as fast, and they haven't been for a while. And right now, I think there's less and less money, and also I'm more selective. So, and I don't know how board games go, but I don't know how you're feeling about that and what it's looking like, or if it's just you're doing fine and you don't feel affected.
No, I've been saying that for years, that any kind of economic instability or downturn is going to cause people to focus less on extravagance or goods that are non-necessities. So they're not going to back as much as they used to be, or they're going to be more selective about what they back, right? And that's completely understandable, In fact, I won't back comic books much anymore unless they also have a PDF. Because if I can't save the physical and read the PDF, I'm not gonna. That's where I've drawn my line, But absolutely, I think a lot of people, unless you're one of the larger established companies that can offer giant, well sculpted miniatures, you're going to struggle with it, And I can't do that, I think it's like 10 grand to get minis made. Or if you get a licensed property, of course, that's always easier. Like I've tried to get Sliders. Do you remember the show Sliders? If you don't remember the show Sliders, I'm going to punt you right in the. Oh, go back and watch it. It's fun. Jerry Connell. I've also tried to get Bill and Ted. I've tried to get a lot of different properties, but they are being very, very selective these days. It used to be they'll just throw it to anybody, of course, charge you, but I think A, an established property will help. B, people are just not spending like they used to because and once gas and everything else starts coming down and all the prices start coming down, yeah, that's going to free up funds to do these kind of things. But until then, we got to power through. That's really what it is.
Did you also feel that, and the saying is grab a life vest and hang on? Because that's what I'm doing. I mean, I have expensive cards in my eBay store. I have a card right now in my eBay store for $1,000. And I think it's worth what I'm asking. I mean, again, if somebody offered me 800, I would take it, right? Because I'm not gonna. I mean, what I paid for it is way less than that. But I know what it's worth, right?
Yeah.
I also know that there's a Boston Celtic fan who's crazy enough to buy it, right?
Yeah.
So it will move for what I want it to move. But I also know that things are really, really expensive right now. Things are tough, and I have to hold on for dear life and hope that I can make it without going belly up. And because, but also I'm smart enough to know that in 6 months from now or a year from now, things are better. Everything's going to be more expensive in my store. So something that was $8 might be 10 or 12 because, well, the economy is doing better. Prices are sensitive to times.
Yeah.
So that $1,000 card in my eBay store might be $1,200. The longer I have to hold on to it, the more it's going to be. And if I have to store it and handle it, or I might even get it graded, and then we're talking about 15 to 2 G's. But I was just curious what you feel because, again, I am now really selective on Kickstarter. And also, I'm burned out a little bit from it, to be honest, because I don't know anymore who's going to deliver and who's not. Right. And it's a problem. And I don't want to dive into it, but there's plenty of people who are not on top of their shit right now. And there's plenty of people who I feel are going to be dipping into the cookie jar in the next 6 months. I really do. Yeah. And it scares the shit out of me. And maybe, I mean, that's what I see. That's my opinion. But I think people are going to be having to dip into the cookie jar.
And you look at how these days, if you went to buy a used car, something that's 150, 160,000 miles is now $6,000, $8,000. That would have been unheard of a few years back. I'm not going to give you $4 or $5 grand for a car that's got 180,000 dang miles on it. That's insane. But because there is such a demand for it, because people don't have the extra funds to buy the new car, well, now these are supply and demand issues. And I think once the funds free up, which it will, it's just going to take a couple of months. I figure 6 to 9 months till we start to see actual real change. And then things will start getting back to what we would consider normal.
I hope.
Oh, speaking of cars, did you know there's actually a 1989 Nissan S cargo car? It looks like a Volkswagen Beetle mixed with a van. Swear to God. It almost looks like a snail. You'd have to see it. I'd have to show you that.
That's kind of funny.
It is hilarious.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
Yeah.
Obviously that's that. And then I want to talk a little bit about comics too. And we touched on it too. But, obviously I ask everybody this and I'm curious where, You know, where obviously you do some comic stuff, you're involved in that. Where do you see all that going? Because I don't think stories are the problem. I don't. To a degree, they are. To a degree, they are because I think the major problem in comics is oversaturation. I
Mm-hmm.
think but that applies to everything, right? If you have 100 jobs opened and you have 1,000 applicants and the 1,000 people can do it, well,
Yeah.
you only have 100 people who can do it, and then it's oversaturated. I,
Right.
and I think comics is oversaturated. I think it's a harsh reality, right?
Mm-hmm.
Of it, and I'm not saying don't do it, guys, but I think it's
Absolutely.
a harsh reality where there's way too much product for this market to be sustainable. And that's my viewpoint. That's my opinion. It's as a reseller, it's a problem I have
Mm-hmm.
to say what's going to catch fire and what's going to retain value, and it
Right.
is super super complicated. And that's just what I'm seeing and feeling, and I'm curious how you feel about that because I think that's the major problem in comics right now is just massive oversaturation. And I'm not saying don't follow your dream, everybody. Please do that. If you wanted to always make a comic, please do. But
Mm-hmm.
you also got to acknowledge
Be
the
realistic. Yeah.
whether you want to hear it or you don't. I'm sorry if you take it that way, but I'm curious what
Yeah.
you think.
No, I completely agree with what you're saying there. There's a lot of books out, and I don't want anybody that wants to put out a book to not do it because you've known me for what, like 4 years now, if not more.
5 years, 4 or 5 years.
Yeah. I'm not an anime dude, right? I don't deal with manga, however you even say it. Um, but so I'm not really backing that stuff. But that doesn't mean that it's no good, right? There's always going to be somebody that likes it, and I say make your stuff. Somebody will like it, right? And if you decide that's something that you can do and that you would like to keep pursuing, I say go for it. Um, my issue is this with modern comics is that they are charging you $25 for a 24-page book. I've seen that so many times. 20 to $25 for a regular floppy. Sorry, man. That's not going to fly in this economy these days. Yes, you might get some sales from people that you've had a history with, but realistically, it's not viable. At least I don't see it.
It's interesting that you bring this up, right? So I read a lot of manga digitally for a
Hmm.
few reasons. I have no fucking place to store shit right now.
Yeah.
I store a lot of cards. I store a lot of merchandise, a lot, and I want to cull some of my merchandise in which that is getting out of hand. Right? I want to
Hmm.
cull a bunch of cards. I want to cull a bunch of comics. Not sell them dirt cheap, but it's time to reduce a collection down by at least 5 to 10%. Right?
Hmm.
It's just I'm in that cycle right now. And it's nothing against anybody's books or anything. And I'm selling stuff at a loss because it's just getting out of hand, right? I'm not out of the industry, but it's time to move merch around because I have other merch and it's legitly in bankers boxes because I have nowhere to store it. It's bagged and boarded. I want to make that crystal clear. But and then the other thing too is that I'm a big Crunchyroll guy, and this goes back to the manga point of why I read digitally, is that there's plenty of stuff that I want to watch and read, but I don't want to own.
Hmm.
And so I think that's also part of the issue is that do you want readers or do you want, people to physically back it, or do you need that $25 position to help recoup your costs because you want readers, but you can't pay your book's costs based on readership.
Right.
And this is the issue. But then buying a cover A for $20 and $6 shipping, it's like $26 for a cover A. Like there gets a point where it's like, and even a fucking digital's $9. It's like that. I don't think
Hmm.
that's gonna fly either. And they say digitals are increasing and people are seeing more of that. 9, $10 for a digital? Are you fucking shitting me a brick? I'd rather go to
Yeah.
Starbucks and have a frappuccino and spend it with somebody who I actually could talk to for 20 minutes or 30 minutes or stare at the cute barista that I want to get her number for my $10, everybody. I would much rather do that. I'm not gonna lie, like, because again, $10 for a fucking digital is a lot.
Yeah. Well, I have the Slaughterville novel up on Amazon. The novel's 15 if you want to buy it. And the Kindle, the digital version, is 99 cents. You know, because again, that to me, it's more important for me to get readers in than it is, anything else.
But do you also feel that it's a digital and it's a click of a fucking button in
Mhm.
reality to send it? If you charge me $5 for a PDF digital, that's one thing.
Yeah.
But charging me $9 to $10,
Mm-hmm.
go to Newberry Comics in my mall and pick up Absolute Batman for $6 physically.
Yeah, you can't recoup your money. You can't recoup your investment as if you're buying digital, right? That it's a one-time cost that you're going to be stuck with.
I'm okay with buying digital at a certain price point. $10,
Right, and that's what I'm getting at.
At $5, I'm more willing to try. So
Right. If it's an omnibus or like 72, 100 pages, then I'd be more willing to pay $10 for that. I just bought. What did I just get recently? I got Gooding, Mike Barron's book. That's like 70 something pages for $18. And then like I said, and people are trying to charge $25 for a 24-page book.
I got Private American, got the hardcover edition of it. I think it was like 25, 30.
Right. See,
it wasn't bad. I mean, it was like 72 pages, 68, 72 pages, but
Mhm.
it's Mike Barron, it's Private American, it's a topical issue. We're dealing with some interesting stuff. There's a lot of
Hardcover.
controversy around it. Hardcover. Okay, so it's a big one shot, right? Is what it is. I mean, I'll call it what Mike Barron's book is. It's a nice big one shot, but great. It's Mike Barron, right? And Mike Barron's been good to me. And that's what it comes down to, right? I like Mike Barron, but I also bought it because it's Mike Barron, but it's also Private American, right?
Yeah.
But if it
Mike,
wasn't Mike Barron, I'll be honest, if it wasn't Mike Barron, I might consider, but it would be a harder sale. I have no
Yeah.
problem saying that too, because it's Mike Barron, right?
And Mike, you need to re-release Badger if you can, or at least bring him back and update it because that's a good book.
Also, Mike Barron creates sparks on YouTube with certain
Of
people
course.
in my community, where people like him or they don't like him, and that's good for me too, as an interviewer. But Mike Barron's been very helpful, and Mike Barron's clips on the micro content do well for me. So again, that's why I backed it, because but it's also different. There's more than just that, right?
Mm-hmm.
I have no problem telling people exactly what I think in my truth, the way I see it, according to Andrew, which is our new podcast, guys. It's coming out soon. No, it's like
it should be
told us Ginger, right? Just with me instead.
Yeah.
It's an animated VTuber, Andrew. We're gonna totally do it, guys. No, but again, I was just curious your opinion on it, because I think it's a really interesting topic.
Right.
That does get spoken about, but I don't think it gets spoken about the way I think it should get spoken about.
I know that it's difficult for an independent creator to keep costs down for everybody. Believe me, I do. When it costs you $5,000-$6,000 for art for your book, it's hard for you to then not get paid for writing it, or not get paid for lettering, or not get paid for, because it's difficult in these times to get, unless you're a big name, to get $5,000-$6,000 on a book. It really is. So I get the desire and the urge to charge, or even the need to charge that money for
But
those books, but I can't pay that anymore.
Let's talk about that, because I don't get paid running my eBay business. I get a distribution. So if I sell something at a loss, I don't get money out of it. I get a distribution out of every single sale. Now, how I really make my money, everybody, in case anybody hasn't figured it out yet, is I don't make my money on eBay. I get capital, I get return of capital, and I get a distribution, and then I invest my distribution into a dividend asset. That's really how I make my money. It just is an accelerant. So if I sell $50,000, and my cost of goods are X, and then my taxes are X, and then I have a distribution of 10,000 of profit, that's a distribution. That's not a payment. That's a distribution out of the business. What I do with that is I can expand. I could go back. I could just take money off the table, and then I will invest a good portion of that, and that's how I get a lot more money. But that's where I think everybody's wrong in this, is that you are not getting paid to run your Kickstarter. You are building an IP, and then hopefully you get a distribution. You could get a negative distribution. You could have to pump money in, but you have to find the sweet spot. I have found the sweet spot of where cards sell. And guess what? They used to sell for $9. The sweet spot is $7.10. The cost of the card in the last 3 years hasn't increased on a wholesale level. But my profits have decreased due to shipping, due to eBay raising their fee. So I am making less money, because it used to be that the cards sold for like $9, $8.50, and now they sell for $7.10 all day. But instead of whining and bitching, I just sell more cards. So instead of selling 25, I make up the difference by selling, 50 of them and not 25.
Yeah.
And it makes up the difference. And so that's how you fix the problem, is you got to find that sweet spot. So it could very well be that the sweet spot is $15 for a book. And you might have to buy 500 of your book so that you get your cost of goods down, which you have to take more risk. And you might have to find the sweet spot might be 13 so that you move more product. This is the reality of it. Yet every time I speak about this, so it's just, we can't talk about business. It's insulting, Andrew.
No, it shouldn't be. It's just a standard fact of life. Because maybe you shouldn't have 6, 7 different covers because you have to pay for those other covers. That might not be viable. Yes.
It's not. It's not even the cover. Sorry to cut you off. It's the printing of the covers that's going to kill you. It's not the art.
Well, yeah. And that's what I was getting at. Yep.
Sorry, I misspoke.
I was going to say, yeah, because then you have to get them printed, and then you have to get them to a price point again where you're going to not only make money, but are they then worth getting? Because are you making them rare enough, or is the artist valuable enough to do it?
Again, every time I've had this conversation, always ends with me and somebody getting offended and saying, I don't know anything about business, yet I am buying more stuff than most people are on Kickstarter every single week. And every single year, I am spending probably more money than most people do on Kickstarter with my business. And and it's all the same. I was in a conference with a woman who sold her company. We were supposed to have like 4 people in there, and I was the only one who showed up. And so we had a 30-minute discussion, and she was lecturing for free, and she sold her company for $15 million. And what she said, she ran a small jewelry company that she sold for $15 million. And what she said is, your business and my business are the exact same thing at its core. You're just selling cards. I sold jewelry. And I've been told that when I said all businesses are the same, that I'm not, that I'm wrong. What I do on eBay is the exact same thing of running a Kickstarter business. It's the exact same thing. The product is different. The core is not. But again, this is a sore spot for me because I'm not wrong, and that's why it annoys me. I agree. But on a more positive note, I do want to give you a chance to self-promote yourself. Obviously, people can go check the campaign, all that stuff. Where can people find it? Social media, check out Slaughterville, all that fun stuff. So tell people where they can go find all of it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm on X at Laughing Rogue PA. Considering dropping Facebook because they are just horrifyingly bad anymore. YouTube, Laughing Rogue, of course. I'm also on Big Sexy Outdoors every other Monday night now, and And yeah, we're doing streams on the Madness with the Slaughterville stuff. We're doing the RPG. Actually, we're running. It's called A Moonlit Night. I think you got that one, right? I know I sent you a bunch of stuff.
Oh, I don't even know what you sent me. I've been so busy.
I know. It's I've already sent you tons and tons of stuff. But yeah, we're getting these books. In fact, not only do I have the escargot going, next month, as soon as this one ends, I'm doing Slaughterville VLC, which is a new campaign for that. And then in May, I'm doing the Slaughterville novel book 2. So we are ready to go and whoop on its buttocks area.
It's wild. It's just wild.
Oh yeah. September is going to be Slaughterville RPG book 2, the tourist guide.
That is wild. Obviously you got a lot of stuff coming, and people should go follow you on social media, all that fun stuff, and everything in that regard. And then furthermore, obviously, and I'm going to keep saying it, and I'm going to promote my stuff, and I'm going to say it anyway. Again, you got to support people who you want to see their projects get made. Goes a long way. Support's a lot of ways, right? Support is obviously backing or buying their product. Support also is just following them on social media. Goes a long way. A like, a share, a subscription, a subscriber on YouTube means a lot.
Yeah.
And the same stuff applies for me, everybody. It applies for me. I am Pop Anime Comics on Twitter/X. I am Pop Anime Comics on the Instagram. I am Pop Anime Comics on Facebook. I am Pop Anime Comics on YouTube. Please subscribe if you already don't subscribe on YouTube. It really actually does mean something. And please watch some of my content. It also means something, and it also helps out a lot. Liking on Facebook, which I absolutely appreciate everybody doing, by the way. I really do. That helps. But also subscribing and liking on YouTube is a really, really big thing. And it goes a long way, and it means a lot. Because it tells YouTube to recommend it, which is also something that's useful. And then furthermore, I am Pop Anime Comics on TikTok. And the other thing right now is I'm doing some spring cleaning in eBay. So you can look for comics and collectibles. Come shop with us on eBay. At Pop Anime Comics Collectibles. And I am selling a lot of cool stuff on eBay right now. So I'm selling stuff like this in my store. I'm selling stuff like this in my store, stuff like this. A lot of stuff like that. I tend to sell cool stuff like this. I sell a lot of comics like this in my store still. This one's actually not up yet, but it'll be up in the next few months. Halloween early. Sell stuff like this, and then a variety of other stuff too. So obviously, and then you never know when you're going to see really, really big cards like this in my store. So this is a 1-on-1 autograph card of Diana Taurasi, and that card sold out within about 25 minutes of when I put it up. It was a grand. So if you are looking for big, big cards, I tend to get a bunch of them every once in a while, and they do sell out pretty quickly. So that is something to be on the lookout for. And again, right now I'm offering a lot of really good deals for stuff, and I am doing some spring cleaning. So a lot of sales are going on right now for the next probably 3-4 days, and that's what we're doing. So that's kind of everything that's going on. And
pretty cool.
Yeah. So if you would like to support my business, support what I do, means a lot. If you're interested in that product, right? If my product does not suit you, do not feel that there's a need to buy anything from me. But again, if you're looking for cards, comics, stuff of that nature, some cool stuff, I got you covered. And I'm going to say this again, as I always say, if you are looking for something and it's not in my store, please shoot me a DM on eBay. And if I have it, I will list it. And if I do not have it, chances are I know somebody who does have it, and I'm more than happy to find you and connect you to the right person. It's happened so many times, and people have done it for me because I want to get you what you want as a collector, a buyer, complete your set, whatever it is. So yes, that's
pretty cool.
So again, it's a small community, and that's everything that I got going on. And on that note, I'm going to give you the final word.
Wow, that's quick. Okay. I hope everybody becomes and gets what they deserve.
Alrighty, that's a perfect place to end, everybody. That is a perfect place.